On this video, we are going to go over rearranging formulas. This is unit 6.2 for regulars. We are going to be given a formula. In that formula, B1 represents the base, B2 represents the second base, and H represents the height. We are going to be manipulating the equations to try and get one variable alone. On example 1, we are going to try and get h by itself, which means I have this fraction attached to it and this set of parentheses attached. In order to get rid of the fraction, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 2 over 1, which would just cancel out on this side, and the a would be a 2a. I don't need the 1 in the denominator. B1 plus B2 equal, then the h. Because of the parentheses, that means that h is being multiplied by it. We will undo by dividing. So those cancel. My final answer is 2a divided by B1 plus B2 equals h. And the h is all by itself, so we're done. On our next one, we're going to try and get B1 alone, which means I need to move the 1/2 and the h. I cannot minus the B2 over yet because it's stuck in the parentheses. To get rid of the fraction, I multiply by the reciprocal, 2 over 1. They will cancel out. I have 2a. I don't really need the 1 in the denominator. Now that I need B1, I'm actually going to move the h over to get it alone. So because they are stuck together through multiplication, I divide by h. 2a divided by h equals B1 plus B2. So I could drop the parentheses because everything was gone on the outside. From there, to get B1 alone, I need to minus the B2 over, which my final answer will be 2a divided by h minus B2 equals B1. And that is your final answer. B1 is alone. Example 2, I'm trying to get y by itself. That means I need to move this 3x to the other side. Because they are being added together, I can move this whole term away by subtracting 3x. So we would get 2y equals, the order doesn't matter. You could write 6 minus 3x, or you could write negative 3x plus 6. As long as you have a negative 3 and a positive 6, you're fine. I still need y by itself, so I'm going to divide by 2. Y equals negative 3x plus 6 over 2. Y is alone. If you wanted to simplify it, if you simplify negative 3 divided by 2, that won't reduce, but 6 divided by 2 would become a plus 3. So both of those would be solved for y. This would help you graph because it would be in slope-intercept form. Example 3 says that the graph of the equation x squared plus y squared equals 49 is a circle with center at 0, 0 and radius 7. if you want to graph this equation on your calculator, we will need to solve the equation for y. In order to solve for y, I want it alone, which means we move the x squared away, so I'm going to minus x squared y squared equals 49 minus x squared. To get rid of the power, we square root it. Y equals, don't forget, plus or minus the square root 49 minus x squared. Now, because of this minus sign in there, I can't write plus or minus 7 minus x. That minus sign makes it so I can't square root it. I'm just going to leave my equation as is. Example 4, solve for x. I have a 3 outside of the parentheses and a plus 8 outside that I need to move. We are going to minus the 8 first. That gives us y minus 8 equals 3 times x minus 7 squared. Divide by the 3 to get that gone. That goes away and leaves us with x minus 7 squared. My parentheses are still there because I still have that little power of 2 attached. To get rid of that little power, I'm going to square root it, which means I have a plus or minus the square root, y minus 8 over 3. That root canceled out the power, so now all I have is x minus 7. I still need x alone, so I'm going to add the 7 over. You may write it 2 different ways. You may write it as 7 plus or minus the square root y minus 8 over 3. Or if you want to, you can write the square root first. Just make sure you put the plus 7 on the outside of the radical for your final equation. Number 4 is honors, and we will skip it. Number 5 is also honors, but I'm going to do it. It's not too bad. You'll probably be okay on it. So F equals SG over S plus V. There are 2 S's, that's why this one is going to be harder. We want to try and get them together. First, I'm going to get it out of the denominator by multiplying by it, which would cancel them out. I will distribute the F in. That way I have SF plus VF equals SG, and that allows me to move this term over with the other S. So now the S's are all on the same side. They have the greatest common factor, so I can take an S away from both terms. And now look, I only have one S because I took the GCF out. Divide, because they're being multiplied together. And there's S all by itself. S is equal to VF divided by G minus F. So remember, honors, if you want to do it, it'll be extra credit on the test.